just normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig.
I did. Oh, wow. Right on the tip. Just on the tip.
And Blabs. Co-hosted by our friends from around the internet.
There is a portion of Norway where it is legally required to carry a firearm at all times.
If you're just a normal man looking for common sense in this crazy-ass world, you've come to the right place. And now, broadcasting from our homes from around the internet, it's time for Side Scrollers. Oh, welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and SidescrollersPodcast.com. What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. It's hump day. It's a great day. The world will survive. Hello, everybody. I'm Stuttering Craig. Great to see you. I'm glad you're here. We got a great show for you guys, huh? I'll tell you what. I'm sure you guys are hyped, and as we are. Blabs, are you hyped?
It's such a good day today. I woke up, the birds were chirping, there was a big-ass bald eagle. Yeah,
Flying around.
I can't do the thing. I just sound like a chicken, but yes. We did it, Joe.
That's right. Hey, rest in peace, Peanut. You died for a good cause. All right? Good stuff. Man, we have so much to talk about today. So why not talk about it with somebody on the other side of the world? Hey, Arch, good to see you.
Mid-bite, you damn...
You good, bro?
Mid-bite.
Hello, American friends, and congratulations.
Are you eating a potato?
Oh, man.
No, traditional Norwegian cuisine, bread with butter.
What better way to celebrate?
Is that traditional Norwegian or is that just everywhere?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Man, everybody loves a little potato, a little bit of butter, a little bit of bread, a little bit of butter. We all love the butter bread and everything. But hey, we got a lot to talk about today. I'm glad you guys are with us today. Obviously, there's been a lot going on in the world. And yesterday, obviously, we talked a little bit about it. Look, we're gonna get it all out today. Then we probably won't talk about it moving ahead, right? We're gonna turn the page, right? Isn't that what Mark Hamill wanted to do? He wanted to turn the page, Blabs.
Turn the page.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody do a wellness check.
Yep. But
Mark Hamill.
we're talking about the election today. Look, we it's too big to talk about. There's a direct trickle-down effect to literally everything that we talk about on a day-to-day basis here on the show. And if we didn't talk about it, we'd be really fucking stupid because we know you guys want us to talk about it and we want to talk about it with you guys. So we're spending a lot of the time talking about that. We do have a couple gaming quick hits to start, but we're going to spend the vast majority about the insane reaction online from all aspects of it, from the gaming media to gaming devs, to the entertainment world, to just psychos online. We've got it all. Our run sheet is 3 pages long, and it's just links after links after links of people fucking melting down. So if you're ready to get on the crazy train with us, we're glad you guys are here. Once a quick reminder, once again, we are live over on Rumble as well as here on YouTube. We also have an X account. You can follow us over at Side Scroller Pod. Could have found out that Arch was going to be on the show eating his buttered Norwegian bread over there. Look at him just chomping away like good old peanut on a
burrito chomper.
Not yet, Blabs. We will soon make him a burrito chomper. Yes. We also have a Kick account, and of course, we have an Instagram account, don't we, Blabs?
Yes, we do. So foster memes and clips of the show. Otherwise, Arch won't share his bread with you.
Oh shit.
That's correct.
We got serious.
We also have the audio version of the show over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and of course the Side Scroller Shorts channel, where if you guys want out of context clips of the show, we will deliver them to you in roughly 60 seconds or less, which is great. Of course, we want you guys to head over to SidescrollersPodcast.com. Look, today is a day. We're not gonna sugarcoat it. It's a great day, right? And we're throwing out a great membership for you guys. Blabs was very inspired. She woke up today. She said she had YMCA in her head, didn't you, Blabs?
Oh yeah, I saw this video. I was like the YMCA, and I was like, yes, This is what we need right now. Some good old-fashioned patriotism, which
That's right.
I'm totally wearing an American dog. Just saying.
I got my Pearl Harbor shirt on. I got it Pearl Harbor. Let's go.
Aren't you cool?
Yeah, I know. I'm awesome. With that said, because Blabs was so inspired by YMCA, if you guys head over to sidescrollerspodcast.com, use promo code YMCA. Thanks, Arch, for being down there. You're going to get 45. It's half off an annual membership. $45 off. That's 45 for President 45. And if you use promo code YMCA. So thank Blabs for that. That is today and today only. So if you guys want to become an annual supporter over there, head over there, and we'd really appreciate that over at sidescrollerspodcast.com. We got a big stuff planned in 2025 for you guys. With that said, if you guys are new to us over here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Join the 106,000 just normal men who have found common sense in the video game, entertainment, and fucking real world. Oh my God, we won! Finally, real world normal men have survived. We've done it. It's insane. Cope and seethe, you mother freakers. And let's do our best to hit the 1,337 likes. Blabs, can I get an eagle screech from you, please? Thank you very much. Chat, if we can get some from you as well, that'd be great. You guys are obviously very, very excited about things to talk about. Kyle came in right off the bat with $9.99, says, we are so back. Yeah, I was crying last night. Let's win the culture. Let's create a parallel universe. That's right. There you go, Kyle. That's what I'm talking about. Cool Dude says, greetings from Canada. A great victory for normal men. That's right. Well, we're going to get into all the reactions to that today in a major way. Radical Drago says, congrats to all the normal men and women who voted for common sense yesterday. Big win yesterday. Shadow Sense says, freedom! Jonathan Bordeaux says, can't wait for Blab's rant on Hogwarts Legacy 2.
There's a 30-minute video on my YouTube channel.
So please go find her over there. Jacob Rotten says, from the bottom of New Zealand, America, also Peanut and Fred. Hey, thank you so much, Jacob, for your New Zealand monies. The Worthy One says, one's in the air for us Americans. We did it. That's a man. Hey, Worthy One, I love how you tie everything into wrestling. It's good stuff. We are the ones today. Joe's guy says, greetings based folks, USA to the max. To the max. Love it. Viper came in and says, the Donald is heading back to the White House. Also, France has surrendered. Thanks, Viper. Snake Master says, man, this day has been crazy. The NR1 president is back to, number one, to MAGA, and the most mysterious song on the internet has been found. What is that? The mysterious song. Carlos says, let's go, normal men. Today is great. Give Blabs a raise, Craig, or else. Common sense and normal men won last night. Thanks, Carlos. Appreciate that. With more super chats, I'm able to do that. Jason came in and said, Side Scrollers is unburdened by what has been. Also, Metacritic is removing negative reviews of Dragon Age that point out the DEI stuff. Oh, that's awesome. Didn't know that. We'll check that out. And Crazy T came in and says, USA, USA, common sense, common sense. Hey, guys. Hey, thanks, Crazy T. Greatly appreciate that. And Mad Hatter says you should probably have Gamza live on sometime, preferably with Arch, so they can talk about Warhammer and Games Workshop. And Craig can compare notes about YouTube training camp. Thanks, Mad Hatter. Appreciate that.
YouTube training camp.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. I had to get re-educated, Arch.
I didn't see that.
I did.
What was it?
Oh, you know what? I think you'd really appreciate it. I really do. I don't know if it's so. The long and short of it is, we got flagged for sexual content, and and I had to answer a 7-question quiz, and the final. Have you done that one before?
I've seen it, yes, because I uploaded a picture of a fully clothed ass once, and that was a bit too spicy for you too.
Oh. Well, the final question I had that I had to take about it was actually had to do with people peeing in snow and whether that was sexual content on YouTube. It was really weird. It was a really weird question. So figured you'd be into it.
I don't know. We Norwegians have always been taught that you shouldn't eat yellow snow. You shouldn't eat snow in general because there might be worms, eggs inside of them. Then you'll get the worms in your tummy, and then that'll be really no. You don't want to.
You've been taught that.
I've never heard of someone say that before about eggs and snow. I'm pretty sure
there's a lot of snow in Norway.
Yeah, but wouldn't they all freeze?
No, little eggs are capable of surviving. So when you eat it, they come into a nice warm place and they grow, and then
I'm good.
Fully full of worms.
Yeah, that's good. We're good.
Thanks,
We're
Arch.
Good. Thank you. Great job,
I'd rather you talk about IKEA.
John came in with the 1776 direct donation. Thank you so much. This congrats to all normal men today. Let's go, John. Thank you very much. Appreciate that support with them. 1776. Mercenary came in, says YouTube is blocking my message and won't even let me say good morning. Anyways, good morning. And remember, guys, we have to get we may have got the ball and won the first fight, but it's not over yet. The deep state is a cornered animal, and you know how dangerous they can be. Thank you very much, Mercenary. Calls came into that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mercenary. Pastor Dave says my county which is typically blue, turned red. Thankfully, President Donald said the Republican Party was the common sense party. We found our home. Logan came in and says, "Arch, you beautiful bastard, how are you?" Also, hi, Blabs, and I guess Craig is there too. It's true, I am. Are you doing okay? Logan wants to know.
I'm doing pretty great, honestly. Pretty great.
All right, me too. Me too. All right, like I said, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to be really quick with these quick hits to start, but we're going to spend the vast majority of the day talking about what happened last night. We realize this is a gaming and entertainment podcast, but like I said, for me, everything that happened last night has a direct impact on everything that we talk about on a day-to-day basis here on the show, with all the woke and the DEI and all the cultural stuff impacted on it. So we need to talk about this, and we're going to talk about it. And if you don't want to talk about it, maybe sit today's show out. But I have a feeling that most of you guys do want to talk about it. So yes, with that said, Blabs, please fill us in on today in video game history.
Okie dokies. Before I do that, chat is telling me IKEA is Swedish. I know that, but Arch gave us a fun fact about IKEA the last time he was on. I'm not stupid. Thank you. Okay, November 6th, guys. Listen, I had to do it. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga was released back in 2007. We have the Halo 4 video game, Craig, please sing, released back in 2012. And then we have the Mass Effect trilogy releasing also in 2012. So there they are.
Hey, speaking of Halo, do you have any announcements for any upcoming guests we may want to share?
Oh, we were doing that already, were we? Okay.
Why not?
All right. Well, it's booked and ready to go. So, guys, December 6th is a Friday. Tune in here, noon Eastern, because Marty O'Donnell will be on. And if you don't know, Marty O'Donnell is the Halo composer. So tune in, and we'll also have John Graham, who is famous for his Arby and the Chief. So he'll also be on, and they'll be nerding it out. It'll be very, very fun. So
yeah, it's going to be good stuff. So Marty will be joining us. So noticeable games that you missed today, Blabs, include NBA Hang Time. I love that one. NBA Hang Time for the Super Nintendo and Genesis 28 years ago. Hey You Pikachu for the N64. Siphon Filter 3 for the PlayStation. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games for the Wii. Silent Hill Origins for the PSP. You mentioned Halo 4, the Mass Effect trilogy 12 years ago as well. Was that on the list?
Mass Effect? Yes, it was. Pay attention.
I wasn't paying attention. I was too.
I know. Do this every time. It's
Need for Speed Payback for the Xbox One along the way. So there we go. Like I said, it's gonna be a great fucking day. Loving it. We're getting Dwight. Thank you very much, Dwight Mercenary says, "Oh, and you got a Google label on stream." You got a Google label on the stream. What are you talking about?
We do. The Google label just says 2024 United States election. The AP is called the presidential race for Donald Trump. See more on Google, and I can't seem to dismiss it, so it's kind of stuck.
Oh, it's one of those dumbass information notices like, listen here, judges, you haven't won yet. Like,
no. 60 Watt says, watch out where the Huskies go. Don't eat that yellow snow. Thank you, 60 Watt. M Champion says, hashtag nuts out for peanut. There you go. Love it. And the final girl says, both parties are terrible and we are brainwashed as a nation. I do not care about left versus right. Just give me fun entertainment without politics. Yep. Preach right there. That's exactly, I think that is a big indicator of everything that happened last night. People were fucking sick of it and they spoke up. And that's the most amazing thing about it. Jack the Outcast came in with the 10, says, $10 for the suicide watch for the certain Canadian who is probably still coping, seething, and mauling from last night. God bless America. Thank you so much, Jack. Nobody should unalive themselves. Just going to throw that out there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Although we will have lots of people who are interested in doing that right now. All right, we're going to get to every single super chat along the way, every single direct donation, every single Rumble rant, and we want you guys to know how much we genuinely appreciate all of that. With that said, we don't have a whole lot of time today to talk about all this stuff, so we're gonna get into it. But M16 Mojo came in with a $50 Rumble Ramp Blabs. Isn't that spectacular? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
There
No
they are.
message. Just a period. That's it. No message. Boom. Thank you so much, M16 Mojo over on Rumble. That is great. And goddamn it, I want a name. Came into the 10 says, it's finally Jover. Words from my aunt who excitedly called me at work today. Not even American, but it seems to me all normal men and of all two genders around the world rejoice today. I seldomly get to say this, so enjoy. Good job, America. Thank you very much. And he followed up, says, also real proof that the U.S. is indeed sexist and racist. They allegedly cheated like hell to get an old senile white man into office 4 years ago, but couldn't help a sister out. Shame. Oh, and XQC apparently bet $700,000 on Harris's win. Hilarious if true. Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a little bit for sure. All right. Let's just get into it. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It is time for Hard News. Hard News. Okay, so obviously we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the election, but was really interesting while everything was going down yesterday, some really interesting news broke about the Switch 2 that I actually want to talk about really fast. I know, Arch. I know. This is
He's like
I agree. It was actually interesting news. I was just like, really? During the election? Really?
Right. Exactly. It was one of those things where you go like, you think they could have planned this better? Maybe get a little more
to be fair for them, because they are so many hours ahead of us. It was already November 6th for them.
Yeah, but
it's still poor timing. I agree, but it's a different day.
Well, anyways, they had a big call, and the president of Nintendo announced that the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible to the Nintendo Switch. So it's actually a really big thing, the idea that all your Switch games will work with the Switch 2, which is not announced yet. So this is Furukawa at Nintendo's game corporate management policy briefing. We announced that the Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to the Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to the Switch, including its compatibility with the Switch Online with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. Oh man. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty damn cool, I guess. So they had some little information that was thrown out there for the different future.
This announced though, like, or rumored, I guess, months ago? Because I swear we talked about this, the backwards compatibility. Now they're just out here confirming it, right?
Yes, this was a rumor a while back, and so I think it's pretty cool. You know, I love the idea that these are backwards compatible. I don't know.
I feel like if they didn't do it, it'd be the dumbest move everywhere, and I feel like people would raise their pitchforks.
Yeah, well, I think it makes total sense, and I think that's great. Arch, do you have any thoughts on the Nintendo Switch being backwards compatible?
Actually, yes. I'm not even just going to say console. No, this time. Because I think it's an excellent move. Because as Blab says, it would be stupid of them not to, because it would obviously cause a lot of anger. But they don't have to. That's the thing. Nintendo's got a nice big grip around the balls of that particular market. They could very easily just stiff people and then laugh away into the sunset as they create remasters of the most popular games. But they've elected not to. And instead, they actually are giving backwards compatibility, just making a better product. Like, Nintendo, for all of their litigious assholing, are pretty decent people.
For all their litigious assholing. I like it. It's good stuff. All right, well, that's pretty much all the video game stuff we're going to talk about today. we have other things on the list, but just in the interest of rolling through this, we're gonna move on to the election. So I'll tell you what. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what happened last night. Hold on, but before we do, holy shit. Captain Agent, my boy, popping in with the hard 11. That is a deep reference right there. $111.11 super chat says a throwback donation and celebration. Captain Agent, I knew, and I always knew you were a normal man, and I appreciate that, my man. Now, if we can just get Wes, Captain Agent, He knows what I'm talking about. Captain Agent, have Wes drop me a line. Great to see you, buddy. Hopefully all is well. Thank you so much for that. All right, so let's talk about what happened last night because there's obviously a lot to talk about. Like I said, I was on Jeremy's show, D-Day Cobra's show yesterday, and we were talking about how this was mid-afternoon, talking about how people are going out and voting that were never political. And I think that's the one thing that will really drive home 2024. I think it started in 2020. People were made aware of everything that's happening in the world. And I think COVID was the big wake-up call for a lot of folks. Most people were just kind of coasting along. COVID happened. They woke the fuck up. And 2024 was the reckoning, where people started looking a little bit more. And then they started to vote. And all of a sudden, here we are, ready to go. So as the afternoon went along, it looked pretty good. If you're a Trump supporter or a common sense supporter, I think is the better way to say it. And ultimately it, obviously everybody saw around 1:30 last night Central Time, 2:30 Eastern. Blabs, were you up for when they called it?
So I was sort of up. I was awake at like 10 or 11 my time, and I was seeing that it was very, very red, and I was like, I'm optimistic, but this also happened last time where I woke up and then all of a sudden a shit ton of ballots just showed up overnight. So I was like, here we go again. This is the same thing. So I kind of went to bed depressed. And then I woke up at 2 a.m. and I just saw it everywhere. And I was like, nah, I'm going to wait until I wake up to celebrate. Because again, I was like, I feel like I could, coop. So yeah, I was awake, but I didn't do anything until this morning. I was like, yes.
Arch, what were you keeping an eye on it overseas?
Yep, I was streaming this, just hanging out with my little friends in chat, and we too were getting a little bit worried there, because it was the same thing last time where everybody went to bed, looked like a Trump presidency, woke up, it wasn't. But it became fairly clear that it was, as they'd like to say, too big to rig, because the early days. I mean, this is a landslide victory. Like, even now, they're still projecting Nevada, Arizona, and Michigan for Trump. Like, damn.
Yeah, all the swing states. All this is. I've heard swing states before, right? And I voted in 2020 for the first time. Literally my adult life, right? I was always one of those like, my vote doesn't matter, guys, mm-hmm. Right? And then you just kind of wake up. You get a little older. You realize how these things actually affect your children and your community, and makes a little bit more sense. And I think for me, this time going to the ballot, it was very, very clear. Who my decision was going to be for. And it's to see, I think everybody was definitely a little like, well, like Blabs, well, it looks good, but 2020 happened,
Mm-hmm.
And there was definitely that for sure. But I fell asleep. I went out last night and played basketball for an hour or two, just to kind of get away from all that stuff. And then I came back, showered up, got in bed with my wife, fell asleep, and just kind of nodded off, and thinking like, okay, they're just gonna pull this out. Common sense will prevail. And I woke up to Donald Trump's "I'm proud to be an American," or the song "I'm proud to be an American," to him coming out for his speech. And that was like really like, holy shit. Like I don't know if I'll ever forget that, waking up to that and seeing like, that he's getting ready to give his speech. And so I sat there and I, just kind of took it in and took in his speech and we're going to get into that in a little bit for sure. But it was very surreal for me to kind of wake up that way. And I don't know, it's almost kind of metaphoric if you really think about it. The idea of like waking up to that song and, after being asleep for so long, kind of for me is almost a metaphor, almost for my like political awakening, if you will. over the last 4 or 5 years. So, yeah, it was interesting for sure. But the response to why it happened yesterday, that's been the ongoing thing. How could this happen? How could this happen? Well, I went through and I was tagging shit all night last night. And I got all sorts of response from people within the industry and stuff. And let's just start right here. I think this is from Neon from Clownfish TV, who says, unsolicited advice for Democrats: calling more than half America bigots, fascists, and Nazis is a big part of the reason why you lost tonight. Knock that shit off. Figure out how to win back Middle America because you lost them when you lost the plot. I think that's it. I mean, what is it? What he won the popular vote with what, 54%, 55% of the vote. So you're saying 55% is all Nazis and racist and sexist? Like, what are we doing? I thought that was
We're all trash.
That's right. Everyone's trash.
50% right now. He is on track to winning the popular vote. Yes, with something like 5 million votes. So.
Kyle came in with a really cool tweet talking about the propaganda that was thrown out. But first, the Midnight Man came in with a great 500. Is that Norwegian krones?
Yes.
Congratulations to all the normal men. Enjoy and celebrate. And if it's okay, I'd like to plug my small horror channel, The Midnight Man Horror. We have hundreds of great stories for you. Hey, Midnight Man, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And where is his voting, Blabs? There you go. There's right there. That's good stuff.
I was waiting for his thing to go away, so
All
he has
right.
the full titties.
No, got them all. That's good. We hope to see lots of rewards in voting today on the show, which is great, including Guy Rye. Guy Rye came in and says, greetings from Canada. Congratulations. Make America great again. Make AAA gaming great again. MGGA, by the way. YouTube didn't let me spell America correctly. Can't stop me. Really? That's crazy. Well, thank you so much for your Canadian monies. And look at that. Look at that. That is beyond generous. Also, with the $111.12 direct donation is Donald Trump's net girth. Says just some normal innocent sport for some normal innocent men. This is a day to celebrate. Time for some yub nub. Craig knows what I mean. Hey, thanks so much, Donald Trump's net girth. Appreciate that. With the $112 direct donation. Spectacular. Wow. All right, let's see what other people were saying about this along the way. Kyle says Taylor Swift, Oprah, Mark Hamill, and Avengers couldn't rustle up the stupidity necessary to swing the vote, but a bullet intended for Trump could. Elon Musk could. Disagreement was bigotry. Truth a conspiracy theory. Nazi this, Hitler that. Comments locked. Discourse hidden. Loss. And I think there's a lot there. Blabs, you got anything on that?
Not really. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Sums it up.
Bill Ackman, who has been he's a billionaire. This is a guy who is always generally pretty liberal, but he came out and went the other way this time around. Says that the election outcome is as I expected. It should cause the large minority of the country who supported Kamala Harris and predicted her victory to begin to question their sources of truth. Half the country has believed that X is filled with mis and disinformation, and that they could only rely on the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, and the mainstream media for their news, and they did. And this continues on, but I think that's a really valid point. The idea that I think this is bigger than politics. This is a cultural shift. This is a media shift along the way. And this is a major death blow to traditional access media and how content is consumed. Like Arch, you said you had a ton of people watching last night. I know Jeremy had 12,000 people watching. I know Geeks and Gamers was massive this morning. Like, people are consuming, we hear this for years. People are consuming data and information differently. And they're going to YouTube, they're going to X, they're going to Rumble to watch these shows. And that scares the shit out of the established media because they have no way, they have no idea on how to respond. Arch, your thoughts on that?
The podcast scene was probably a big part of this, honestly. Like the back-to-back Joe Rogan interviews, Trump, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, and pointedly, no Kamala. Like, that signaled loud and clear to the younger generation that she is not their candidate. She's not a candidate of the future. She clings to access media as a crutch. Whereas other people, you know, and to be fair too, Joe Rogan wasn't exactly the most aggressive interviewer, but hey, after being stiffed by Kamala, who can blame him? But it's nice to just see a politician in a more natural habitat. And like, that is what Trump is selling, the non-politicalness of it all.
You're right. And I think that's when you look back on it, that we're going to talk about the podcast aspect of this in a little bit. But when you look back on this, podcasting played a major role in this election, whether it was Theo Vaughn, the Nelk Boys, Joe Rogan, or even the Call Me Daddy podcast. Like, all these podcasts played a major part in how this podcast or how this election happened. Sitting down for 3 hours and having a conversation, sitting down and just not having a filter. I think that's really important. This narrative that JD Vance was weird was completely debunked by going on these podcasts. You know, how many comments, Blabs, did you see when you saw JD Vance interview where comments were just like, I was told he was weird, but I
actually unplugged from that and never saw anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a very political person. I'm just very glad that, like, my bills and shit are gonna go down now. That's what I'm happy for. Like, I'm not either side. I'm very much in the middle. I'm very much fuck the government kind of deal. But I just want less fees, less gasoline bills, and all that other stuff. Leave me alone kind of deal.
Right.
Don't tread on me.
Well, and I think that there's a bigger aspect to this as well, is what you're saying is I think that's where the vast majority of independent voters went and voted for Trump over previous years based off of that idea. Like, the traditional Republican Party, as far as I know, like, this is not the traditional Republican Party, what's being thrown out there right now. And that's why so many quote unquote traditional Republicans endorsed Harris, because it was the establishment. It was what everybody knew. It was what was safe. It's what allowed the country to be what it is. But ultimately, people are saying, hey, we see what's going on. And they're consuming this through social media and through X and through information that wasn't there 15, 20 years ago. And I think that ultimately was the decider in this, is people woke up and they realized that they don't like where things are at in the economy, and they don't like being gaslit. And that's how you have you win all the electoral. That's how you win the electoral vote, and that's how you win the popular vote, and that's how you win the Senate, and that's how you win the House.
Yeah. Unironically, a mass mobilization of normal people who have, because like the Biden presidency was in many ways promised to be a return to the normalcy. It's like, okay, we've had this crazy non-politicians in politicking in the White House for 4 years. Now we return to the normal stuff. And people looked around like, God, there's wars going on again. And everything's expensive. I don't think I like normal.
Well, think about that. What was it that Joe Biden run on? He was about unity, right? You wanted to bring people together. Do you think that any part of society is more united than it was 4 years ago?
Absolutely not. Because again, like, they didn't know what had divided the nation. Like, that. The thing is, this is not something that has really been brought up enough. Like, even the normies today, even though they're beginning to wake up to it, are still like only beginning to feel around on the edges of this culture war of ours. Like, the classic idea of like, okay, why is my entertainment shit? Like, okay, well, that's a rabbit hole. Let's go down. It's a whole thing, and it hasn't been talked about. The news media hasn't talked about it, and only now are people starting to discover podcasts and the internet and Twitter, which has been a huge influence on all of this. And they're beginning to see the outlines of this huge cultural struggle that has been going on in the background, just slightly affecting everybody's lives. And that's what came out here. Like, so many people had realized, like, oh, is this the reason? Is this why we need Trump's? Like, yes.
I think last night was a huge cultural moment in that, and from our perspective, obviously, the idea that you had one candidate that was saying everybody should be woke, and another candidate saying everything woke turns to shit. And that was a very clear fork in the road from a cultural perspective. I think I mentioned this on, I don't even know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday, but I think I mentioned it on Jeremy's. But like, you had an opportunity. If Trump wins, I feel like it's the beginning of the end of woke. Right now, there's going to be tremendous pushback, the kind of the woke ideology initially, but I think ultimately it'll slowly die. Whereas
I think that might happen like years from now.
Right,
Sure,
but
because everything is already in progression now, and they're not just going to go and turn around. So I think maybe by 2027 it'll start to slow down.
Right. But like I said, I think this is the beginning of the end, right? It's not going to just like, it's not a faucet you turn on and off, right? Because this all took time to be integrated into all the cultural aspect of it. But you had another candidate that I think it would have just poured gasoline on the fire, and it would have got exponentially worse. So for that, I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'm actually really excited about, is the idea that I think this is the beginning of the end of that. And maybe I'm naive in that, but I do think that that's the most exciting thing about from a cultural perspective of this. So Christopher came in. Let's look at this right here. That's outstanding. Wow. Says Christopher's says, thank you, Craig and Blabs, for being the beacon for normal men. Christopher, thank you so much for your Swedish 1,000 monies. I don't even know how much that is, but it's red, and that's great. Christopher, that is spectacular. And there's a bunch of rewards for you right there. That is excellent stuff. Okay, let's see some other reactions from some folks. And here's the other thing. Like Adam Carolla, one of the godfathers of podcasting, came in and says, tonight the race hustlers lost. And this is one of those things where you had an entire platform that was built around race and identity. And I think that's a pretty powerful statement along the way. There were other people who were just absolutely clueless here, like this Anne Lamont says. I thought tonight would be more fun. I still think we eke this out, but God Almighty, who are these people? Razor came in and says, they're the chuds you've had on block for 8 years. You can't know a portion of the population whose personhood you have categorically denied for a decade. Tonight is their revenge. And you have only your coastal elitism to blame for being bewildered by it.
Yeah. And like, that's a good point, because this is something you see all the time in leftist circles online. They believe themselves to be the majority. Like in video gaming as well. It's like, why didn't this diverse game sell? Where are all these right-wingers coming from? It's like, it's because you're not the majority. And yesterday demonstrated it. And you can see the divide so clearly as well. When we were covering it live, we looked in at the states. Every time, countryside, blood red. Every city, blue. And even in the cities, they were beginning to turn Republicans. Like, we have created such a clear-cut divide now between the cities and the rural populace, which is not a good thing. Like, the two parties don't understand each other. People on the rural countryside look at the cities like, what the hell are they up to? And people on the city side look at the countryside like yokels. Like, the divide is insane there.
It is. It's the divide is rich. When you look at, there's the old saying that good thing land doesn't vote, because when you look at like the land of the United States, it's all red with tiny little blue dots, right? And those blue dots are just very, very blue, right? I tried to explain that to my daughters last night. They're like, well, how come people in the city think different than people not in the city? And I don't know if I have an answer to that right now. Because that's something that eludes me.
They lead very different lives, and the people outside the cities are kind of more aware of what's going on because they have it a bit harder, right? Let's say even just driving to grocery stores is different than people living in the city. You just walk to a grocery store in the city. That's not the same. So you spend more money on fuel and everything. And then there's also rent in New York City or like big cities, and it's super expensive. So it's just all just different lives and perspectives.
Yeah, different lifestyles for sure.
And then bubbles.
Yes, correct. Well, we're going to get to Reddit here in a little bit, because Reddit may be the biggest bubble of them all. But first, 427 Arbach came in and says, should be 1776 after the YouTube tax. Thank you very much. Genuinely appreciate that. It says, I don't know what part I was trying to say was naughty, but I think YouTube dislikes me discussing the historical significance of yesterday's date. I think yesterday was a very big deal. Very big deal for sure. All right, let's talk about what some other folks were saying. Gabe, who's been on their show many, many times, he said, America rejected the policies of the junior college sociology department. And I think I kind of giggled when I saw that. Just the idea that you have some folks in junior college trying to run a government with their ideology along the way. I just thought that was pretty clever. And it's a very, I don't think he's wrong by any means. Then Critical Drinker, though, came up with this very sobering, ironically, coming from the drinker. Says, prepare for another 4 years of movies and TV shows that are commentary on Trumpism along the way. Shows like The Boys. That's all Trumpy and all that stuff. So do you think that this will, Arch, do you think that the reaction here will see more games media, traditional media? You remember we saw Dustborn was developed after the 2016 election. The response, will we see another Dustborn in 4 to 8 years?
To begin with, yes, but I actually think this is going to go the very, very much so the opposite way, because the culture war has now been swinging rightwards, and this has been a public demonstration of that. Like Disney is reining in the woke. Like most of these companies, like Boeing, recently got rid of their DEI part of the company division. Yeah, it's not profitable. They've finally realized it's not profitable. The money dried up years and years ago. If anything, I think we'll see more of the companies beginning to slowly turn towards the right now to begin to regain that profitability. Now, it's going to be a very slow shift because they need to find, non-woke writers. They need to actually produce this stuff, which takes years. But I would not be surprised if we will actually see far more right-wing media, quotation marks.
Like, that's the thing, is what is right wing? Because right wing is knowing what a boy is and a girl is at this point. Things that were pretty common sense a decade ago, 15 years ago, are now seen as super right wing. It's like, really? Okay.
Right wing is not wanting war.
Yes, isn't that insane? Kratos came in with the $50 vote right there. Superchats says, everyone on the left should learn that they've been lied to in a major way, from Joe's mental state to Kamala's popularity to entertainment. Kamala was installed and then avoided spotlight. Elon, Rogan, and Rumble made it impossible to ignore. Kratos, genuinely appreciate that. Look at that. That is spectacular. Wonderful right there.
That's a big point too. Like, Kamala, I'm sure we all saw this when she was announced, like basically got in there, didn't get the preliminaries, wasn't really voted for, just became the candidate. And then there was an enormous media blitz. Like the old media went full in on her to a degree I've never seen. And she skyrocketed in the polls. I think she was ahead by like 20 points at one point. Like, it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But they couldn't keep it up. She had to actually go out there and talk. And every time she did, everyone on Twitter, everyone on X would look at it and go, like, hold on. Are we sure that we want this woman to run our nation? It was a litmus test for the old media. Like, they put everything behind her and they still fail. Like, that is the final death knell of traditional media, in my opinion.
I agree. I don't think it's like the nails all the way through, but I think that hammer's coming down really hard, really fast, in a major way. Hyennefer says they're the silent majority of that Nixon spoke of. You don't keep them happy, and they will bite you square in the tenders. Thank you, Hyennefer. Appreciate that. Hobo Cop came in and says, please, Arch, don't let some idiots there make another Dustborn after yesterday. You guys made black metal, which I'm grateful for. Go that route.
Listen, personally, I would quite like another Dustborn because that's a popular video game to play on the internet.
Well, Seth Dillon, who is the one of the bosses over at the Babylon Bee, I thought put it extraordinarily well, says, to woke leftists, the insanity you tried to shove down everyone's throat is the reason you lost. It's time for introspection, which we're going to see from some tweets that I have pulled up here. introspection is not happening.
Ain't happening. But because this was absolutely a no, you went too far left backlash. Like, nobody was complaining that the Democrats had gone too far right wing. I saw Hasan on that. Like, oh, they went too far to the right. Like, you kidding?
Last night was really, I'm not gonna say it was emotional for me, but I'll say it was more validating for me. I had a little, speaking of introspective, I had a little introspective while I was watching that. I go back to several conversation I've had with people that I've worked with in the past who really shamed me, and they really made me question my beliefs, really basic beliefs that I've always thought, things like knowing what a boy is and what a girl is. And, thinking you should, have a family and love your family and care for your daughters and basic things like that, the traditional family. And I was shunned by several people, but last night was kind of validating. Specifically, like, had he won the electoral college, it would have been one thing. But the popular vote was the thing that was like, all right, this is cool. And I know that I'm
just that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like, it's a clean sweep. The House, Congress, electoral, popular, like, man.
Yeah. And I know that I'm not alone in that as well. Many people were ostracized. And I put this tweet out about it. I said, tonight is the biggest indicator of just how out of touch the entertainment and video game industries are from real life, real people. I've lost friends because of how radical I am. It turns out I'm not radical at all. I'm just a normal man like you. And that was really, I think that was the most validating thing about it. And I know people, we talk about, normal man here, and, that's kind of our brand in our community, right? And we kind of stumbled upon that throughout the show, but that's like the best way to describe it. And I see some of my old coworkers and some of my old, business partners, the things that they're saying and the cope that they have this morning, and they truly don't understand. They don't understand what happened. And they are seething in the biggest way possible and blaming everybody but themselves. It goes back to the old, they're pointing the finger out, but there's always three pointing back at you, right? That was that old saying, right? And they refuse to take accountability that ultimately they're the ones who got us here, them pushing this shit down everybody's throat, to where that's why people decided to get out and be so active last night and more or less ruin their worldview last night. But even Santa, even Santa was having issues. Blabs, did you see Santa Decides over on X?
What?
Santa was
the naughty list thing.
Yes,
yeah.
Puts people on the naughty list. Says, I lost 12,000 followers. Maybe I should do it in Santa voice. I lost 12,000 followers supporting Trump at this election. I got blocked by hundreds of people I considered friends, but until work clients stopped responding to me, I got death threats. I was told to end my life 1 million times. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Sorry. All of you here with me are on the nice list. Thank you for your support. And I look forward to the next 4 years. Well, good for Santa right there. Good for Santa right there. I love that. So I think that first group of tweets and the response there was people who were like, that's kind of you understand what's happened and why it's happened. Let's talk about some people who don't quite understand what happened along the way. And I wanted to kind of show off some of these tweets along the way, including QC. This is one of the biggest streamers in the world. And he put $835,000 on Kamala Harris like the day before on stake gambling, because that's something that you can do. And he very quickly found out that was not going to happen throughout the night. I don't know if you saw the clip of him quickly cashing out. Did you see this right here?
I didn't see that one. No.
Yeah, I haven't seen this either.
Here we go.
Oh, these guys are looking more lively. Yeah.
Come on. He's clear. I think he's watching the Destiny stream, by the way. You can kind of gives you an idea.
Oh, look, the man's drinking fucking caffeine over there. He's got the Red Bull. He's like, all right, we can
Come
do
on,
this.
Alan.
Didn't need it.
Oh my
Didn't need
God.
It. Didn't need it.
I agree. Didn't need it.
Look at that face.
Oh fuck.
And at that moment, he knew he fucked up right there.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, man. Can you imagine just number one, having that play money, the idea of being able to put $835,000 on a whim and just yikes.
Didn't he sign a kick contract for like millions and millions too? So I mean, he's
and
got some cash to burn.
Exclusive also, so he can stream elsewhere too.
Yep.
Good contract.
Yep. Well, other people who have nice contracts, and Hasan Piker is a big streamer. Had almost 300,000 people watching him over on Twitch right now. Well, he just said straight up he's going to move to Japan last night. Blabs, likelihood percentage points that any of these people who say they're moving are going to actually move.
0%, just because of evidence from the last elections. And didn't Miley Cyrus say she was going to move out of the country if Trump won, like back in 2016? Well, she's still here, unfortunately. So, yeah. And also, honestly, though, like, even if he actually does try to get into Japan, I think they might actually let him in just solely on his net worth. As long as he's not like a dickhead like Johnny Somali and just, I was about to call him Johnny Salami. As long as they don't call like misbehave and call him like ruin people's cultures and things, they probably would let him in. His money.
Hasan Piker is pretty white. I'm just saying.
It's pretty white, dude. There you go.
They might let him in.
They might let him in. Hey, Adrian came in with the $20 super chats. This first election where candidates use podcasts primarily means to reach the voter. Old media is done. Their unwillingness to call states highlighting their uselessness. Also, Orange Man's name is apparently a blocked word. Yeah, I don't know how you can block a presidential, a two-time president. On
Same
YouTube.
way you can ban them from Twitter.
Adrian, thank you so much. Can we talk about that though, real quick with Twitter? Think about where we were 2 years ago with this platform. Would the election have rolled out the same way had Elon Musk? I know the answer to this. It certainly wouldn't, but let's just think about how the election would not have been the same had Elon Musk not purchased Twitter. Like that,
you would not have access to the same information at all.
I think that's going to be looked at as one of the most important purchases possibly in history. I mean, it literally altered the course of history last night.
I actually said that to my mom on the phone this morning because we were talking about it. I was like, if Elon Musk hadn't bought Twitter and we weren't allowed to express our views and find out the actual truth, unbiased truth, I'm pretty sure this election would have gone completely in a different direction, similar to 2020, honestly, because a lot of people were censored then too.
Yeah, 100%. Twisted Trading came in, says, as a Dem, I knew exactly why they all lost. They have took a leak all over Normal Man for years. They have no one to blame but themselves. Oh my God, preach 100%. And that's the thing about this show is you're going to see people, Twisted Trading, thank you very much. That's incredibly generous. You're going to see people who are going to look at us and they're going to say, oh, you're so right wing. You're so conservative. This show is for the 80% in the middle. That's the thing that people don't understand. There are people who are extreme right, extreme left. This show is for the 80% of the normal men who like, and look, we'll dabble on both sides, but at the end of the day, we know most people are just normal, right? And the normal people went out and voted last night, and that's was really validating for sure. So, now what about people who aren't normal, who are very upset about what happened last night? Let's talk about Paul Tassi, who is the games and TV writer for Forbes right here. Talking about people just having no idea what to expect. He tweeted this out about 12 hours ago. And I don't know if you understand what this reference is here, but he's just looking at a bag. So I thought I'd pull up the actual clip. This is from, what's that damn show?
It's not Will and Grace.
No, it's not Will and Grace. It's Arrested Development.
Oh.
So this is the clip right here.
I don't know what I expected.
So it clearly, I'm guessing that means like, you know, like he kind of expected this to happen, but at the same time, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But how clueless can you be, man, along the way there? I don't know. I found that really, really amazing to kind of see most of these people have been pretty radio silent. They've been digesting, specifically in the gaming space. Now, some people have melted the fuck down, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. So then there's Jason Schreier. Remember Jason Schreier a couple weeks ago when Dragon Age Veilguard came out last week? He put out this tweet. It had like 1 million views on it. It says, "Go woke, go burr, or to the top of the charts." And that was kind of his thing. He wanted to own the chuds along the way, right? Did you see that tweet from him?
I didn't see the tweet specifically, but that has been the general sentiment. Like, Veilguard has kind of been held up as a little bit of a banner for the left now. It's like, look, this one thing didn't do disastrously. I'm looking at like 8 years in development. Yeah, I knew you needed a lot more than that, buddy.
Right. Well, I saw that and I was thinking about it in particular this morning. I just said, go woke, go bro, or lose the presidential election, House and Senate, right? I think that's the biggest thing. This is I mean, they're about as woke as you could possibly be.
Oh,
right. Well, okay. All right. As far as we've seen right now, I mean, as far as the idea of not knowing what a boy and girl is, the idea of having, story time with drag performers and stuff with kids, like all these things that nobody asks for, nobody wants. And that's how this happens. That's exactly how this happens along the way. So it's crazy. Now, Blabs, I know you don't like talking about her, but we're going to.
I already know who you're talking about.
I know. Alyssa Mercante of Kotaku.
She did have a day yesterday, I'm sure.
It was a rough one for her, and I would say most people at Kotaku. This tweet was going around yesterday, and you know what? I actually think she's kind of right. Now, it says this guy said, this person, I don't know who this is. Regardless of the election results, it's obvious this country has gotten way more right wing, especially amongst men, and I think a lot of it has to do with what's fed to us online. We have to figure out a way to stop every dude under 35 from tuning into crypto Hitler. And she said, it starts with the nerds. I've been saying this. And you know what? I actually think she's right. It does start with the nerds. I think culture from a video game perspective, it does start with all the nerds who play video game on a day-to-day basis. I 100% agree with her. And that's why what we do on a day-to-day basis is so fucking important, because there is a trickle-down effect from this. Arch, your thoughts?
It started in nerd culture in general, because we were not the popular kids growing up. We were very much so the insular subculture that everybody picked on. We were at the bottom of the pile. And then everybody was like, hold on, video games are pretty awesome. And they started getting into video games, started getting into 40K, into Star Wars, into Star Trek. All of this became large. And we were in there immediately, initially, looked at this and thought, cool, loads of new people. Hey, want to hear about 40K? Want to hear about video gaming? And we were so excited. But we didn't understand that we were letting in people who weren't passionate about this, who were in here because it was cool and who wanted to use it for their own ends. Like, we failed to gatekeep our hobbies. And so we were the first ones to see the shift. We were the ones who were like, hold on, you can't ban me for not voting your way, surely? It's like, oh, watch me. Like, oh shit. We were the first people who were affected by straight up wokeism. And so we're the ones who've had the longest to look at it and go, yeah, no, they're actually insane. Holy shit, we got to warn people.
Well, and I think that's the thing about it is, for the first time, they've received pushback, these people, and they're not used to it. They're not used to being heard no. And I think that's the biggest thing about yesterday. It was people saying, I've had enough. I've had enough of this insanity. I've had enough of boys playing girls sports. I've had enough of drag queen story hour. I've had enough of the gaslighting. I've had enough of me telling me that I'm a garbage human. I've had enough. And for the first time, these people are hearing no after being coddled to and being told that they're right by everybody for so long. And for them, it's natural for them to lash out. How could you? And clutch their pearls. Which
just in the tweet you had right there, right? America has become more right wing. Like, bear in mind, to these people, right wing is, like he says, like crypto Hitler. That's what they think. They think that America has become more right wing, whereas in reality, America has barely moved, but they've gone so far to the left and now looking rightwards and saying, like, wow, you are really far away. Like, yeah, you ran.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You ran the fuck away. It's crazy. Well, it continues as she actually retweeted this one here. And this is just so on brand for her. It says, this is somebody that she retweeted. It says, lived out so hard, I forgot that men at their very core hate women.
At the very core of my being beats the heart of just misogyny.
It legitimately sounds like a broken person. Like somebody did something to her. Like she had a breakup or something along the way. Yes, Blabs?
Sorry, that tweet was really funny.
What's that?
That tweet that you just had up, that's hilarious. I'm sorry. Did women get more abortions, or were they actually going and paying for groceries almost every single week of the year and was like, shit, I'm out of money? Maybe that's why they voted in a certain way. I don't know, man. But let's just hate men and for no reason, even though they protect women. Except for the misogynistic men who are saying that like trans women totally are the same as women because they just suck.
The woman vote was up, and you're exactly right. Like, who usually does the household shopping? Women. So they go out, they look at their grocery bill and go, well, this can't keep going on.
It makes me laugh whenever they're like, I hate men. It's like the founding fathers of America. Okay.
Well, and I think that's the most amazing thing about this with her in particular is what you're seeing right now is pointing the finger at everybody but themselves. And right now, men are becoming the scapegoat. They're saying, oh, it's all men's fault. Men showed up last night and they voted. They hate women. All men hate women, clearly, as you see from that tweet. And she continued here with more. She says, yes, the increased vitriol you saw online over the last few months was an indicator. Yes, they once again borrowed a playbook from reactionary, angry, perpetual online men. We are a stupid country. It's always about the men.
Doesn't she tweet like all the time like a little girl? So isn't she perpetually online?
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, but it's okay when
stop. Stop.
The logic deceives me. I don't get it.
And like she's even like she says reactionary. Okay. By her standard, yes. Like the world is now looking at your bullshit and they're reacting. And like, why would you do this? No, stop. But and then it's everybody else's fault. Like she breaks into your house, shits on your carpet, and when you chase her out of a house, like, why are you reacting to me shitting all over you? Seemed like the normal thing to do. Right,
100%. Love that. All right, let's continue on because there's more here from the gaming media. Jake Steinberg worked for Game Explain, which is a YouTube channel that's pretty popular, has a couple million views, a couple million subscribers on the way. Anyways, he left. But this is the type of person that you're dealing with. They wrote a piece on Substack, specifically on Election Day. Said, anyways, I wrote a piece yesterday about how anti-woke gamers are basically Nazis.
Please read and subscribe.
And I went in here, and it features Smash JT with his Kotaku Detected, as well as
Asmongold, leader of the Nazi party there.
Yep. And Hypnotic along the way videos here. So, yeah, man, it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing to see the cope along the way, and that's the only word that I can use to describe it is cope. I think it's crazy. But that is the video game industry, folks. That's the video game industry that you love. Hey, give it up for Cybruiser57. Peter says, this is my first time doing a super chat ever. Let's go. Awesome. Says, anyways, Arch, are you going to cover the 5th European Political Community Summit that will happen on this week? I know it's a big U.S. day, but please don't forget about your fellow Europeans. Cybruiser, thank you so much. That's incredibly generous. We really appreciate that. And look at that.
Titties.
Yeah.
Days.
So are you gonna cover that, Arch? You're gonna dig into that?
I might
Are
look
you
into
asking
it a
about
little
the
bit.
boobs or the super chat?
No, I know
might
Arch
look
would
into
dig
the
into
boobs as well.
Yeah.
What about?
Because
Also-
it is going to happen over here too. Like America is the cultural hegemon. Where it goes, the rest of the world goes. And you should see Norwegian news today. Like, Jesus, you want to see meltdowns? Oh, everyone here, like 80% anti-Trump. You have a whole panel of middle-aged cat ladies all looking like somebody just peed in their cornflakes.
Right. Okay. Well, let's talk about that real quick, because I'm really interested in that idea. Like, what does it look like over there? Is this the U.S.? It's a dark day for the U.S.? Is this the traditional media?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, they were running a segment today on the disunited states of America, how everything is collapsing.
Wow. Okay. The disunited states.
Yes, like it's been wall-to-wall anti-Trump coverage until it started. Then it became clear, and there was literally on the television, on the news program, they all of them just sitting around the table looking sad. It's like, how could the Americans do this to us?
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And-
I can actually bounce off on that too. So I follow the Telegraph, which is a British newspaper. And they used to be okay back in the day, but as time has gone on, like all other mainstream media, they've gone completely one-sided, and you can guess which side. And I've seen a lot of reports this morning where they're like, oh no. But then some articles are kind of like, so this happened. And like they seem to be very like treading lightly. It's kind of like, what are you guys thinking over there? What are you doing? So it is pretty interesting to see. It's like,
I think
are they
they're-
gonna like bounce off and just go on the other side of this aisle now, or are they just gonna wimp away?
They're probably understanding immediately that when Trumps get into office, they have to toe the line, because that's the thing, that they're really tough when they think that he's not getting in. It's like, Trump's the worst, Trump's the worst. Then he's actually there, and they have to deal with him. Now, oh, Trump, you were always so very nice to us. Please don't
Please be
take our
nice to
funding
us."
away.
Yeah. Please give me money, please, money, please.
Yes.
Right. Speaking of money, please. Twisted Trading came in with the $100 super chat. Anyways, let's make that normal man's day a bit better. Hey, let's go. Look at that. Twisted Trading, thank you very much. Really appreciate. Look at all that normalcy happening in your face right there. That's great, Twisted Trading. Really appreciate that. The Emperor Hyperion says Belgard sucked from the jump just by being an EA game. There you go. Let them know.
I will defend the old EA games in the early 2000s. They slapped.
Well, right.
Okay.
Yes.
I will
Back
die
in
on
the
that hill. It's just so sad now.
They were once actually Electronic Arts, founded by genuinely passionate people, but that was a long time ago.
And
Yes.
Galaxy far, far away, right, Mark Hamill? Wherever he is.
We'll get to, that's a really good segue, Blabs. We're going to get to some celebrities here in just a minute. But let's talk about, Archie, you're talking about the news media and the bubble that people are in, right? These hive mind places. And probably the biggest hive mind that you can find on the internet is Reddit. And Reddit has been melting down in a major way. So much so that over on Reddit, on politics last night, the top article was the National Suicide Prevention Hotline.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Wow.
That was the top article over on Reddit last night. Also, this is from Reddit Lies over on X. Great Twitter account. It says, am I out of touch? No, it's the voters who are wrong. Look at this. Are we the bad guys? Are we the ones who have had it all wrong? I'm questioning everything. This goes back to what we talked about 15 minutes ago. The idea that people are like, this result has people questioning the foundation of their beliefs. And that's fascinating to me. Things that they have been force-fed by the traditional media over the last 5-6 years. And now they're realizing that they may be wrong. They are the bad guys in this situation.
Oh, like it's something that is genuinely very difficult, okay? Because one of the reasons why we don't see a whole lot of converts from left to right, etc., unless you are talking within like closely linked political positions, like moving from, right wing to slightly further right wing, for example, is because it is very difficult for the human mind to admit error, because I love how you crack your necks in perfect synchronicity there.
I wasn't even
Oh, did we?
looking.
Me neither.
They're just linked. But yeah, look, if you do something truly bad and then you realize later, oh, that was horrible, your mind will try to defend itself from that. You don't want to admit that you might have been a terrible person, because most people don't want to be terrible people, despite all available evidence to the contrary.
Well, what's interesting about this, if you continue on with this thread, says, are we the bad guys? Are we the ones who have had it wrong all along? I'm questioning everything. No, the bad guys are just more gullible, more ruthless, and better funded. And then the guy this person responded, says, Harris was better funded and spent way more than Trump.
Yeah, because that's the copes. Like, oh, no. It's just that the right wing is huge and heavily funded. Like, who is funding the right wing exactly? Where's our George Soros?
Right.
Yeah, great question.
Well, Elon Musk would be.
Yeah,
would
I guess
be
so.
because he's the one who spent all that money along the way. But it apparently worked out. But
I wish you'd fund me.
right. Where are you at, Elon? What was also fascinating though was, holy shit. This next one says, we talk about the echo chamber. Says, I'm going to be writing an article about how activist moderators coupled with Reddit's downvote system created a massive information desert on the internet. Seriously, this is what our politics looked like before the 2024 election. It doesn't reflect reality at all. When you look at this, Kamala Harris suddenly becomes favorite to win a top election forecast. Harris slashes Donald Trump's lead amongst men in final poll. Trump ends campaign by calling female leader the B word. Trump shares, Taylor Swift shares extremely important. He says it's all positive spin for Harris. So it makes total sense for these people who are like, what happened, when all they see is toxic positivity along the way. And the other opinions are literally filtered out from their algorithm.
And, like, Reddit has been a left-wing hug box for a decade. Like, there was a 40K lore Reddit where my videos were posted quite a bit, because I did 40K lore, of course. The very mention of my name has been written into their rules as banned. You cannot mention my name. And the reason given was because it started fights. So somebody would post one of my video, then the leftists would attack that person. How dare you, quote Arch. And then the person who posted it would get banned. Not the man who started the fight. The man who posted the video would get banned. It's like, that's the degree of a hug box that the Reddit was, where you would actually defend the aggressor against the person being aggressed upon.
Reddit is a wasteland. And it's what's interesting about this is, and we're going to continue here with this next one. So this guy says, Reddit told me Kamala was going to win all 7 swing states and flip Texas. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah. Like, because that was too, like, before the election, they were like, oh, Texas might go blue, Florida might go blue. On election day, it's like, no, it's not happening.
This person's finally wising up, says, I'm starting to think Reddit might be an echo chamber that is completely disconnected from the majority of the country. Yeah. You think? I think that's one of the most fascinating things about this, for sure, is the sheer disconnect that people have from living in their online bubbles. It's fascinating.
I mean, okay, so let me pontificate on this for a slight moment here,
Please.
because there's some interesting points here. On the one hand, the mainstream media was actually beneficial in that there was only like 2 or 3 sources, like 3 or 4 sources, right? They gave you a unified worldview. We were all on the same page because we were all getting our news from the same area. With the introduction of the internet, you can now get your news from 10,000 different sources.
Yep.
And this allows for far freer flow of information. Like, if the mainstream media all decide, no, we're going to lie to you on this, then you're screwed. Unless you go on the internet, there you can get the truth. But it also means that people will begin isolating, because now they start curating, like, no, I'll listen to that guy, I'll listen to that guy, that precise interpretation. And they'll cherry pick interpretations of reality, which is exactly what Reddit is. Reddit is a cherry picked interpretation of reality. And I fear that the rest of us will head down that path too. Like in another 10 years time, there will be like 50 different Joe Rogans with 50 different takes, and people will go like, no, that one is the one I like. That's the one I'm going to choose to believe.
Sure. Yeah. I think there's validity 100% to what you just said. And the idea of 50 Joe Rogans is pretty crazy. But I think that's where it's going to be. You know, there will be a next Joe Rogan, the Nelk Boys or Side Scrollers or whoever it is, right? That kind of takes the next step with their show. It's going to be crazy. Speaking of crazy, you want to watch some people melting down? Because I got tons of people melting down. These are clips from people on TikTok who just can't deal with it. Let's see what this lady has to say.
Crazy thing to me is that if this guy does end up winning again, all of the people who voted for him will be like happy and they'll just be celebrating. And everyone else, everyone who feels threatened by him is fucking scared. Like we're scared for our lives. We're scared for our friends. Like you have pro-life women dying because their doctors are scared to treat them because of the repercussions of his last presidency.
Did you hear what she said? The idea that she said people are scared who feel burdened by him. They just it always goes back to my fifis, my feelings along the way.
Well, again, like remember the echo chamber, the bubble, right? When this woman says that she people are dying, I feel scared for myself. She probably actually is worried for her safety because she's gone so convinced that Trump is just the worst thing ever. Literally Hitler. Stormtroopers will be marching on the streets. Exactly the same song and dance since the first time he got elected. Like the Trump death squads had never appeared. They won't appear this time either. But when you genuinely believe and you worked yourself into this frothing frenzy of hyperventilation, you're gonna panic. We need to help these people.
I agree. You mean panic like this?
I can't help but wonder if all these people are also faking it and overdoing it just for the views and likes.
Like this lady?
I'm sorry. No. Why? Why? Do you really hate me that bad?
Ew,
I hope they're overdoing it because I'd like to believe that human beings aren't like, right, I'm about to have a mental breakdown. Let me just film this.
Right. Just going to slowly get out my phone and put it up in front. Make sure my lighting's good, and then
I need to share this mental breakdown with the world. The world must see.
What's with people and posting pictures of themselves crying or videos of themselves crying? It's kind of a weird trend, isn't it?
You mean like
this?
this?
Odd, ain't it? Oh, yeah.
Like this person here? Just...
Yeah, what the hell?
So I'm crying in the bathroom.
Like this person right here? Just crying at the election results.
Didn't want a woman in the office this bad. Yeah,
like this
true.
Oh, the dog is sweet. It's like, don't worry, a human. I saved those tears.
Licking her salt tears over there. Ridiculous. Like this guy over here. What about this lady right here? Oh, this is actually a really good question.
Dude?
How did this happen?
No.
Like, is anyone else completely...
No lie, I thought that was Kobe Bryant for a second.
I mean, that's a wonderful moment for introspection, lady. Like, ask yourself that question. How did this happen? Try and figure it out.
Yes, exactly. How did this happen? How did this happen? And Blabs, I'm sorry, Kobe Bryant's dead.
I know, that's why I was like, what the fuck?
He's back.
He's reincarnated as a woman.
Oh my God. We have more people just crying into their cameras. Like, how performative is this? Just woke up and saw the results. I swear to God, I'm done with you self-hating, disgusting, racist bitches. That's witch bitch over on TikTok, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Speaking of witches, did you see that Trump was shielded this year?
Shielded? What do you mean? Oh, yes, I did. Yes, the witches.
Yes.
Of Eastwick? Like what?
So in 2020, witches cast a spell on Trump, and apparently it worked because he lost. And in 2024, they cast a spell on him, but they claimed that he was shielded. So I take this as proof positive that magic is real. Okay.
Hey, he did it. He did it, Blabs. Hey, look, this person over here got it right. Look, everybody, you're all racist misogynist. Here we go.
If you want me to post content about how I moved to Portugal, let me know. People lied. People lied about who they voted for. The energy did not match the results. And people said that they were voting for one person and then they voted for another. America was not ready for a female Black president. And that is what I was worried about. Because the country is full of racist misogynists, men and women.
I thought she was Indian. Make up your minds. But I just wanted to point out that they literally had an ad campaign with Julia Roberts where she was basically saying to lie to your husbands and keep your vote a secret. And so it's like, well, yeah.
Well, this continues. I mean, this thread is massive, by the way. It's just like boom, ba 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 boom. I mean, this keeps going. All these people are just it continues to grow. All these people who just don't understand how we can get there. They truly, like, they've been living in such a bubble that they don't get it. And this is, for the first time in their life, I really feel like this is a wake-up call for them, which is spectacular. But it's not just the person on TikTok, also the media. Archie talked about the media on your side of things. How we are now the the disunited states of America?
Yep.
The ununited states, whatever it is. I want to show some clips from various media channels. This from Canada and the CBC Blabs up there in Canada. Let's see what they had to say.
Let's talk about exactly the question that you're asking is one that I've been catching a lot of heat for answering on air. And we've been talking about this in the last week or two. You're talking about the propaganda campaign and the playbook of Trump. This is not new. This is not surprising. This is directly out of Hitler's playbook. This is out of the autocrat playbook. This is a way to, I mean, the things that Trump has done masterfully, frankly, is to get the entire, to get a big part of the population to believe that the game is rigged and to sow distrust in public institutions and the free press.
The idea of causing distrust, like, here's the thing. All that happened was more information was available. More information was made available, and they saw right through your veil of lies, their CBC. They saw right through these public institutions that are funded by the government, that are sheer propaganda. Like last night, you saw so many traditional newscasters, Katie Couric. These are prominent at one time newscasters that were on NBC, ABC, CBS, these major networks here in the United States, Arch. And they're all talking about how, well, there's still hope. There's still hope. At no point should a journalist be like, well, there's still hope there's still hope for the other guy to win. Right? That's not how this game works, and it shouldn't work.
So. It shouldn't be. But again, like the other part is they don't even understand what they talk about. Directly from Hitler's playbook. There's a very fascinating book I recommend everybody to read, which is Hitler's Table Talk. It is literally just transcripts of conversations Hitler have had with various people at Berchtesgaden and stuff, just casual stuff that illuminates his political position. you'll see, like, if people would read this, and people have indeed rewritten it and given it to like progressive institutions and have lauded it, Hitler's playbook was pretty much the exact same as the left's playbook today. It is the othering. It is there is someone out there, the right wingers. They're evil. You must protect yourself. There's still hope for democracy. Democracy is falling, etc. They are far more on board with Hitler's tactical election playbook than Trump is. Like, Trump is just a big buffoon. He just stands up on stage and starts talking about the stuff he wants to see happen, and people resonate with it.
Well, it certainly didn't resonate with the Young Turks and Cenk Uygur. Is that his name? Cenk Uygur? Cenk?
I think it's Cenk.
Okay. Let's go take a look at what he had to say. But first, we need to take a look at a wonderful reward as Twisted Trading came in with a $200 super chat. Says, don't think of all of us on the left who lean. Oh, sorry. Let me get that out of the way. There. Wow. Maybe one more. There. Okay. All right. Easy. Just everyone relax. A thumbs up in the chat for that, please. Twisted Trading says, don't think all of us who lean a bit left are all the same. I am a normal man married to a normal woman for almost 20 years. Anyways, show these normal men some bigger ones. There we go. Hey, thanks, Twisted Trading. And you've been huge today, and we genuinely appreciate that support. Spectacular, as is the support there. Yes, and we understand that, right? So there's that 10% here. There's that 10% here. You're part of that 80%. That's not batshit insane. We appreciate that, right? Cybruiser came back, says a little info on my previous comment. It's going to happen in Hungary, Budapest, and hope it's not going to end up, quote, how hungry its people. And I don't know who that is. Victor is bad again. Because we are the black sheep.
Yeah. Okay, so Hungary's basically like standing up to the EU, and they don't like that.
Viktor Orban.
I don't know anything about that situation. I'm American, and I worry about what's happening in America over here. So, there's that.
We do have a message for all the super chats so far, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we'll get to every single one of them throughout the show. Obviously, those massive ones we can't ignore, and when we will supply you with massive ones, with your massive ones. All right, let's talk about this Young Turks guy. This was his reaction to everything here. This is courtesy of the Young Turks channel. This is spectacular.
NBC News, ABC News, and CNN have all called Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. This election is over. Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States, and he has won re-election. So buckle up, brace for impact. We're going to have 4 years of anarchy and chaos. My prediction, which is not a bold one, is they're going to rob the place blind. All of his donors are going to get everything they wanted. There's going to be almost no checks on him. Last time the establishment checked him, I'm not a big fan of the establishment, but they put some brakes in the car for Donald Trump, and he's a guy who needed brakes. Now there will be no brakes in the car. Steve Bannon's back.
Anyways, you get the idea. Blabs, you're just staring at the screen like, what am I watching?
Yeah, but also I'm just amazed by the background where everything's just on fire. Like, he really plays into it. Like, everything's just, it's all doom, bro.
Oh yeah, they've got a burning Capitol building in the background through the streams. Like, I kind of love it because they're so bold-faced about it. Like, if this guy wins, like, everything's over. Panic, scream, fire, burning.
Oh my God.
He's all in on it, man.
It's great.
Dedication.
Oh, that's spectacular. Then we saw this from CNN last night, and I thought this guy really nailed it. I'm not familiar with who Scott Jennings is, but I thought this guy really hit the head on the nail of what happened last night.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids. And they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks.
And this is actually really important. Listen to what he says here.
And the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line. And we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
Yeah.
CNN just allowed someone to school all their anchors. I just want to let that in. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the man is 100% right. Like, people were looking at the world, and the world has gotten worse. Like, it just has. Under Trump, there was, like, just the wars are the most obvious. Like, under Trump, we were the closest we'd ever gotten to actual peace. ISIS was defeated. The Middle East was quiet for goddamn once. Russia was behaving. 4 years of Biden. And this is the thing, too. We need to remember that a lot of the problems with inflation, particularly when it comes to food prices and building materials, is largely because of the war in Ukraine. It is eating up unfathomable quantities of money, of resources, and it's one of the largest grain manufacturers in the world. Like, it has enormous knock-on effects to the world's economy, and that happened under Biden, solely because Biden was a known entity. Putin knew exactly what Biden would do if he invaded Ukraine, whereas Trump, you've got no idea what that crazy bastard will do, and that is his greatest strength in office as a deterrent.
Yeah, I think that the unpredictability is a strength for sure along the way, because there is no playbook, and I think that playbook, that the idea that there is no playbook is the playbook. I think it's very, very powerful. I started noticing this last night. Speaking of traditional media, and I noticed, we talked about how important podcast had been, X was to this race. And I noticed this. I said, like, it's insane. And this holds true. Like, literally this morning, I don't think they've been officially announced yet. It says, what's insane is that if you're not on X, YouTube, or Fox News, you'd still think Harris has a chance. ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, PBS are still attempting to hold the line of propaganda. It's embarrassing. And
I mean, you can even look at the map right now. They're still not calling Nevada, which has swung Republican by, like, what now, 4 or 5%, and they're refusing to call it.
Right. That's the most amazing thing about it, is that these traditional media, they're still hanging on the entire way. Sean Johnson over here said, had a little bit of self-reflection, which I think is probably the best thing to come of this, right? Is that while most people looking at this won't be able to look back at themselves and realize that there's an issue, this person did, and I appreciated this. Says, I voted for her. I think he's a bad guy. But if you lose the Senate, House, Electoral College, and popular vote, and you think the lesson is half the country is racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, and stupid, wrong lesson. And the same thing will likely happen in 2028.
Yeah.
Preach, man. Preach.
I mean, you've got to just face the reality that, okay, either you're right, in which case you're boned, aren't you? If the overwhelming majority now of the country is sexist, racist, and homophobic, well, shit, you're shit out of luck. What can I say? If not, then maybe you need to start talking to them as people again.
Shut your mouth. That's just a crazy thought process right there. All right, but what about Hollywood, Blabs? What about Hollywood? You wanted to talk about the how Hollywood is dealing with. Now we saw all sorts of people propping up Harris, saying, "Hey, you need to go vote for Harris. You need to vote." Now a lot of these people, they've been linked to the Diddy files and all that stuff, but
almost all of them.
Let's not let a good story get in the way. But let's talk about that, because this is from over on Deadlines. As Hollywood reacts to Donald Trump, Bette Midler deletes X account, Christina Applegate still reeling and sobbing, and Billie Eilish decrees war on women update. And that's really all we need to see along the way. But
yep,
yeah,
that's really it.
but Bette Midler deletes her
yeah,
X
she
account.
actually deleted it 100%. It's gone, so that's exciting.
Gary,
but no one checked up on Mark Hamill yet. Still, I'm like, yo, man, you good, brother?
You should definitely keep an eye out on Mark Hamill to see what he has to say, if and when.
Yeah, he's not said a peep. But you know what I've just realized is that his timeline banner is Harrison Waltz, and that's like pretty lame. to put a politician as your Twitter banner, like yikes! Like either side, that's just lame. Don't you have anything else better going on in your life than politicians as your banner?
The answer is no.
He's still got the thing pinned to today's the day we turned the page.
Yes.
Well, you were right there.
Let me share his thing since everyone. Here we go. Beautiful. Today is the day.
The page has been turned.
The page has been turned many times, Mark.
It's almost there's a thing of being too far into it. You can be too far in the weeds, and Mark Hamill is so far in the weeds. His fucking heels are up in the sky. It's crazy.
He's at the very center of that bubble. Like he's formed the bubble around himself. He this must have been like, we joke about the wellness checks, but seriously, like he is having a hard day today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like legit question. Like, do you think we'll see any quote unquote celebrities not make it? Will they just be like,
I think they'll all take massive internet breaks, actually, and they'll come back in like maybe 6-7 months and be like, so, hi, everybody. I took a wellness check. It was time for some me time. I was too much online. I need to focus on myself, and I feel better now, completely ignoring all the politics and everything. I think they're going to pull a little wellness check playbook.
I mean, hell, I'd love that. Like, okay, this is a big problem with the celebrities these days. They've all decided to become, normal people talking about their politics. Like, no, you dancing monkey, no speaky politics, please, because it doesn't benefit them. Like, the celebrities would benefit enormously from trying to build up that gravitas they had as just genuinely likable people again, instead of getting involved in this. Like, that is their meal ticket. Like.
It's awesome. Do you think Pedro Pascal will be one of those guys? Gary had this. It says, Hollywood, this is why you lost. And this is a post from Pedro Pascal from 2020. Like, you can't just start calling people all this shit, like you can't do that without some sort of repercussions. But there are people, a lot of traditional quote unquote celebrities that have said they're going to leave the country if Trump wins. And now that Trump has won, there's an entire list of them, and I think it's important that we, more than anybody, hold these people accountable. And here they are right here, a great list. Alec Baldwin.
That's a lot of people.
This is awesome. Check this out. Alec Baldwin, Whoopi Goldberg, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Rob Reiner, Barbara Streisand, Cher, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Megan Rapinoe, Tom Hanks, Amy Schumer, AOC, who she's a senator right now, right? Or a Congress, whatever.
Some
she's
chicken Congress.
It'd be hard to move away when you gotta serve your constituent. But Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, Bill Gates, Jane Fonda, Madonna, Mark Ruffalo, Kim Kardashian, Bruce Springsteen, George Clooney, Hunter Biden, Oprah, Robert De Niro, Samuel L. Jackson, Miley Cyrus, Travis Kelce. Hey, this will work out. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce can move together.
Aw, so cute. So cute.
Oh, stay together forever. Bobby Altoff, Rashid Tlaib, Stormy Daniels, Dr. Anthony Fauci, George Soros, Diddy, Eminem, Ellen DeGeneres, Sean Penn, Sharon Stone, Ashley Judd, Tommy Lee, Bryan Cranston, and Billy Joe Armstrong right there.
Isn't Diddy locked up right now? So, like, how can you leave the country, brother?
These are great
Just
questions.
wondering.
Yeah. You know, as pointed out, bonus points. Cher said she'll blow her brains out. Rob Reiner said he'll set himself on fire. And Bono vows to drive himself on a cliff. All in Minecraft, YouTube. All in Minecraft.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Diddy can't actually go anywhere right now due to,
Exactly.
other
He can't
circumstances.
leave legally. That's funny.
Oh man, that's so funny. So funny. I loved everything about that. All right, let's go to the biggest tags of them all. I have not actually watched this footage yet because the View came on a little bit before our show started. Do we want to see the epic meltdown that the View had, Blabs?
Honestly, I'm okay with that listening to her screeching.
Okay. You sure?
You want to play the Craig clip? Go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, it's 3 minutes and 41 seconds, and all you need to know. Let me just.
Chat's asking for it, so.
All right.
Chat wants it. Chat deserves it.
First and foremost, look at how all the ladies dressed in black. Like
I
a
noticed
funeral.
that too when I saw it. I was like, wow, a funeral.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what they had to say here on the View. This is their opening segment.
Before we hit play, did you see what Nancy Pelosi said?
No.
She literally was like, I would say it's a good morning, but it certainly isn't.
Oh no, I thought that was before. Was that today?
This morning.
Oh, I thought she did that a long time ago.
Oh, if that wasn't this morning, I'm gonna be upset. But I thought it was this morning.
Hey, if you guys are tuning into us for the first time, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button, and we'd really appreciate if you guys would subscribe. We usually talk video games and entertainment, but today is a kind of a one-off, obviously a major cultural event. So we'd really appreciate it. Do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button. And guys, thank you again.
Nancy Pelosi did win her race somehow. Like, how on God's good earth is this?
California, man.
She's a demon. She lives forever.
California. All right, here we go. Let's see what they had to say.
The New York Times this morning, the headline was America makes a perilous choice. I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now...
How exhausting is it to constantly be worrying like that?
Meanwhile, you have millions of dollars that you can just give all that money to the people you're worried about, and problem solved.
Yeah, I don't really think this is particularly genuine. Like, I really worry about my mother. Why? Did you cut her off? Are you throwing her out on the streets?
Yeah.
She can't pay rent?
Yeah, The View takes place in New York. So if her mother lives also in New York and she's a retired teacher, she has a glorious pension that she needs not worry about a single thing.
She makes $1.6 million per year as the host of The View.
And she's worried about the working class.
Yeah, she has her finger on the pulse for sure.
Has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country, because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor.
Doesn't make any sense. That statement doesn't make an ounce of sense.
She lost her rights overnight without the president being like inducted again.
What's amazing about that statement, the idea of God, I want to hear that one more time. Hold on.
Who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off.
Okay, like once again, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, and every other presidential candidate, there's no application, right? You know who you're like. The application is how they present themselves and their policies that they put out. That is their application. So the idea of having a box to check is asinine, right? And the idea that you know for the president, like we all know what's going on, right? And they cling to these things, this insurrection, the idea of an insurrection, right? Like, are they? This goes back to the reality thing. Like, did they see the footage? Like we saw the footage? Like, are we staring at the same footage? And maybe
No, they saw edited footage.
That's the thing that's most amazing about this is like.
But chat's right too, because she's saying like, every single person better remove, the felon checkbox off applications and everything. But like, a lot of companies just want to know. They don't solely base their decision on hiring you if you are a convicted felon. They find out what your felon was, how many years ago was it, have you turned a page and all that stuff. They just simply want to know. So that's just stupid.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country. Because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons. Well, and so that box better be taken off. And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that he's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps. And I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Sunny. Appreciate it. Is that Sunny or Joy? Which one is that?
Wow.
That's her, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's her. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so she's a descendant of slave owners?
Yes. She
Awkward.
is. Uh-huh.
So temporary hardship, though. Of course, there's going to be temporary hardships things. Of course, there's going to be temporary hardships. We are already in the temporary hardships. Like, we've already got mass inflation. And, like, the entire idea of tariffs that Trump is doing, I think is a very good idea because you need to start building up industry in America. And, yeah, that is going to hurt for a period. But if you don't build anything, it's going to hurt a whole lot less later. Like, stupid. Anything worth doing is worth doing properly, and anything worth doing is probably hard.
Yep. I'll tell you what, she apparently goes on to blame uneducated white women for the results last night because you dumb, stupid white women.
I'm trash.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, let's lighten it up here as we only got a few minutes left. And once again, we're going to get to your super chats and just thank you guys very much, including once again, Twisted Trading. Wow, look at this with another $50 super chat says, fellas, let's just have a piece from the political panhandlers wanting our hard-earned money and enjoy the view. Hey, thank you so much, Twisted Trading. More view. Look at that. There's the view for you. Twisted Trading. Hey, big old thumbs up in the chat for Twisted Trading today with their great support. All right, let's go finish up with some memes here along the way. These were really freaking funny. Did you see how Japan shared the news, like the way that they presented this over in Japan, Blabs?
What is that? That's amazing.
That's so Japanese. It's great. As the more electoral votes he got, the more it went up. Then we have this from David. Says, looking forward to seeing these flags fly.
Yes.
I like that one.
Good old peanut right there. And then, of course, we have
killing the squirrels.
That's right. And then we have this child's guide to online political discussion. Everyone I don't like is Hitler.
Yep.
So there we go. We've had a bunch of great memes along the way. And one last thing, actually, which is kind of interesting. This is from WDW News Today. They have the Hall of Presidents over at Disney. And Trump will be the first animatronic ever to be moved back to the center stage. during his time. So that'll be kind of interesting. Now he does look like that is not a
He
very
looks
good.
terrifying.
Yeah, it's not a very attractive animatronic, which
He
I
looks
think
a
really,
bit like Biff from Back to the Future when he's old.
right. Man, oh man. Norm says something is wrong with the audio in the videos you're showing. All I'm hearing is infants crying. Is anyone else having these issues?
Everyone.
I was like, shit, what's going on with our audio? That's great stuff. Victor says, can they leave the country as they promise? We can do a GoFundMe if money is an issue. Listen, money's not an issue for any of these people. That's the crazy thing about
I
it.
ain't giving them a penny of my shit. Nah. They can walk out.
Darren says, Arch, as a fellow Nordsman, I've seen the most of my older 30 up relatives that most of them think that the global economy will become worse and food more expensive because they actually listen and believe stuff NRK says.
Norwegian Reich Broadcasting. And there will be expensive stuff increasing. That will happen because the thing is, America needs to start making itself independent of China again. And that does mean increasing tariffs. It does mean building up American industry. But I also want to point out, America has been food self-sufficient for the entirety of its history, pretty much. And only recently did it stop doing so. The U.S. needs to produce more food. And as the U.S. produces more food, and as we get peace in Ukraine, hopefully eventually, the food prices will go back down again. It's that simple. We are a global economy and we need to fix the obvious issues.
Well, this is day one. We're not even at day one. That's the thing about this is he still needs to be, actually put in office in January, and we'll see kind of what happens between. There's people saying, well, hey, he needs to be put in a bubble between now and then because people are saying that there may be another attempt on him now that he's officially been put in there. So,
oh yeah, they've already doubled his security detail. I don't want to say it on YouTube because God knows what the rules will be now, but they better watch him.
Yes, for sure. All right, we got a lot of support to get to, and I just want to say thank you guys very much for every little bit of support today from the show. It's a great day for normalcy. It's a great day for normal men. It's a great day for common sense, and that is exciting. We're going to get you your super chats and your direct donations here right now. Now, Blabs, here's the thing. I have to pick up my daughter in 20 minutes. So can I stick for 5 more, and then can you finish up the rest of the show?
Oh, thanks, man. Okay.
Arch, are you okay with that? Can you roll with Blabs and finish up?
Yeah, I can be here for a while longer.
Thanks. Because Craig totally ditched me and didn't tell me that.
I didn't think we'd go this long. Delta came in with the one says, when Whoopi Goldberg said they want to break up interracial couples, I was terrified for JD Vance. I tried to get the word out to him, but it was too late. I ended up voting for Hitler. Thanks, Delta. Appreciate that. Scavenger says, Trump wasn't my first choice, but I love the team he had built around him. Ironically, they are disaffected Democrats like me who are sick of the psychos who have hijacked our party. Thanks, Scavenger. John came in and says, and to think this is all thanks to Mudang for picking Trump for president. Thanks.
All thanks to Modang.
Modang, is that who it is? Speaking of I actually found this really interesting, and this could go down another rabbit hole, but if you think about where this whole thing started, it actually started when Babylon Bee was banned on Twitter. Do you remember that? Because without Babylon Bee getting banned on Twitter, Elon Musk doesn't buy Twitter. And then think about the butterfly effect of all that. That's crazy to me. All because of that one banning. That one person who banned the Babylon Bee.
I also think New York Post getting their stuff banned too for the laptop scandal.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that and obviously the one thing that wasn't talked about was all the Amish in Pennsylvania as well.
They rolled out, bro. They got pissed.
Great stuff.
Shout out to the Amish, and they make great food.
Delta says, honestly, one thing I would hope comes out of the left, center, and right, looking at how Clinton and Harris lost while being exponentially more financed than other candidates. Yeah, they look at how things are financed. Marksman says, let's have some fun. Arch, who has the bigger third leg, the Death Claw or Chairman Mao? Maybe you need to explain to Craig who this tiny female is. Love you guys in your streams. Never forget, Arch is a whore who will do anything for money.
Largely correct. Proportional to body will be Chairman Mao Asakura, as my chat is currently funding a sexy calendar of waifus for next year.
Oh.
And because they're my chat, they've decided that women with penises meet that standard.
Oh, that's good. Aiden says, I have no shame for voting for Trump. I would be friends. I would be friends from both left and right as long as they don't attack me for my beliefs. Makes sense, Aiden. Since I'm a moderate conservative, and if the far left attacks me, especially physically, I will stand my ground like a man. And then he followed up, says the far left are crazier now since Trump is back. If they tried to impose their beliefs and ideology on me, I tell them to piss off. If I don't conform to their ideology, they'll see me as an outlaw, and I'll have no problem with it. GDI guy came in with the 10, says the wokesters, sexual deviants, and non-normal people have a rapist mentality. We just want good entertainment and escapism. Preach. Eat my slamwich, says salt for the salt god, cope for the cope throne. Arch, please send our regards to Dev.
Dev took it very well, though, because Dev's not really a hardcore Kamala either. He just doesn't like Trump. So he's enjoying the fallout as well now.
Winston says, I was going to vote for RFK, but he dropped out and endorsed Trump. Before he dropped out, I talked so much shit on Trump over the way he handled COVID lockdowns and didn't pardon Assange or the January 6th prisoners. But nevertheless, I voted for Trump again. Thanks, Winston. Appreciate that. Sindus came in with the $12.89 direct donation. Very specific. Says, just realized Trump is the 47th president, just like in Metal Wolf Chaos, where you play as the 47th president's piloting a giant mecha. Hope Elon builds a giant mecha for Trump so he can use it to drain the swamp. And Sindus says, what's to bet that the list of celebs shouting about how they'll leave the country is a sneak peek of the Epstein list? All right, Blabs, I'm going to take this opportunity to roll because I do need to pick up my child. Guys, thank you so much for your support. Blab's going to take you home the rest of the way with Arch. Arch, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back to normal tomorrow. Blabs, I'm going to do some standalone videos after this, so you can just slice what you want out of this afterwards from a quote perspective. But I'll do some standalone videos on gaming stuff later. So with that said, guys, thank you very much. Here's Blabs. Here's Arch. And I will see you guys tomorrow when we're back at it at 11 a.m. Central Time. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Go away now.
Bye, Will.
Okay. Over on locals, Feldstuff sent $1 tip saying, Neon said it best on X. America spoke. She's done with woke. Cookie Dawn says, Merry MAGA Day. And Cookie Dawn followed up saying, way too big to rig. All right, back on the tubes. This Stargazer for 10 says, even though these past few elections have depressed with me by showing me how many people I followed for years truly hate me. I'm glad to announce that my first time voting, I elected a winner, Tiff Dawn. Thank you. Christoph says, congratulations to normal men. Greeting from Sweden. Hello. Thanks for watching.
Hello, Sweden.
Oh, you guys are friends now. Oh, okay, never mind. Jeff says, hail Arch, Blabs, and Craig. Just asking you to check on Dev and make sure there is no sharp objects near him. I don't agree with him, but hope he does not go crazy over this. By the way, congrats on winning from Canada. I think he's okay.
Dev is fine. Dev is happy.
Dan says, yes, Halo 4 is probably the best and the last game of the series I played the most. Christoph says, did you get enough sleep, Arch?
Barely. Was too excited to sleep, but I got through.
You can keep going. You good? That's it?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Creeper says it wasn't even close.
No, it's not.
Skyke says the meltdowns in certain gaming forums are glorious.
I'm sure Reset Era is having a normal one right now.
61 says all the reading about Orange Man bad, and now they're calling him white. Shake my head. John says, I just want to be able to buy SNES games from the eShop. Be better, Nintendo. Yeah, I want to play the old ones too. Dwight says, isn't it crazy how nearly 20 million extra people can turn out for an election 1 year and then they're nowhere to be seen 4 years later? Very strange. Revan says, is this Cornhob or side scrollers? What? Boog says, Latino here, savior of the white race. You're welcome. Thanks, Boog.
Thank you, Boog.
Missionary Impossible says, best comment from a Democrat. Fuck, maybe we did cheat last time.
I did see that one.
That's hilarious. Andrew says, Donald is the first McDonald's fry cook to become president. Yep.
Mm.
Bullet says, Arch, ask Canuck Cook Dev how his bussy feels this morning. Noodle says, my local news barely had any coverage of today's victory. Can't silence normal men. It truly is a new day indeed. Missionary also says, this is why you don't fuck with the Amish. They just want to be left alone. Correct. The Amish really do want to be left alone. Gremlin says, I guess you need all them toxic men after all you crazy feminists, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Miner says, Trumpomania is running wild, brother. Antihero says, you guys, congratulations from Germany. The people over here still can't believe Donnie did it. It's equally funny and embarrassing that they still believe the MSM while calling you guys uneducated.
Okay.
But thanks from Germany. Norm says, question for Arch. What is the least depressing Norwegian fairy and folk story? Oh, this is fascinating. Yes, do tell.
What would be the least depressing? Probably one where the children drowned quickly at the end with Nukken. Yeah.
And anyway, Belial for 10 says, Chenk actually seems to have a sane response. He doesn't like it, but Orange Man won. And that's the one that's what the electoral right wanted. Also, YouTube won't let me say Orange Man's name. He's not wild. Scarfy says, loved your stream, Arch, especially the part where Dev became a monarchist.
And the neocon, too.
Christoph became a member. Thank you very much. Nathan says, what happened was Biden-Harris is they got anti-elected. They made everyone angry at them and paid the price. That's what they did to Trump in 2020. Thank you, Nathan. Antihero says, Arch, what is the Space Marine chapter with the most kick in the front door attitude? I've used to prefer sneaky tactics, but developed a taste for the direct approach lately. Anything I should read?
The Space Wolves book series. Ragnar Blackmane. Very good stuff.
Suna says, not sure if you know about this. Credit card companies are trying to censor manga, anime, and trying to bankrupt them if they don't comply to Western standards. Okay, I've heard about this, but I haven't really dived into it yet.
A lot of the, you know how we have Patreon, right? They've got things equivalent to that, like Fanly pages. Virtually all of them have been blacklisted off Visa if they provide any kind of like spicy content, which makes it really difficult for them to get any money because all they've got left is like obscure Asian payment cards.
Jonathan says, the Orange Man has returned. Arch, you must come to the U.S. on a freedom pillage tour. Think of all the food in our ancestor Viking ways.
That's true.
Wolfblade became a member. Thank you very much. Marissa says, I worry about Dev, Arch. He can't see the obvious.
He cannot.
Tech Support Gaming says, consider this. She couldn't handle talking to journalists, asking hard questions. How do you think she's going to handle negotiating with world leaders?
Yep.
Fair. Matt says, too many tweets like, we need to have a conversation with, insert demographic here. No, when you lose this badge, it's time to have a conversation with the person in the mirror. Dan says, as a Canadian, just wanted to say congratulations, America. Full good. Thank you, Dan. The Hijabi Gamer says, I'm in New Jersey. Many Harris people are against the woke. I know so many people who voted for her, but if you speak to them, they agree with him on everything. So why did they vote for her? I don't get it, but okay. 60 Watt says, why doesn't Hasan move to Gaza? Just saying. Great question.
Why not?
Victor says, in big cities, you have bigger competition to be seen. Therefore, people need to be more crazy in order to be seen as unique and worth attention. It's not good or healthy. I'm assuming that's a scene, right? Yeah,
probably. And that is true. Like when you have a bubble, and that's the only, correct point of view, to be the guy who's leading the bubble, you got to go further and further towards the edges. And that's why you see this natural radicalization process in the cities where everyone is living on top of each other. Everyone's in the same bubble and everyone's competing to be the most avant-garde leftist.
All right. The Nobody Cares Man says, Salaman Alaikum from Oslo. FRP win when. Norwegian polls 70% Kamala win. The fuck? Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yeah.
Adrian says normal men for the win. And then I guess it's a US emoji. I thought it was like winnest. I was like, what does that mean? Sweet Potato Night says $5 on Rockstar changing some things for GTA 6 and delay it. What will they change? You decide. Make gaming great again. That sounds like a very expensive thing to do. I don't think they do that. I'd hope not, at least. Caru says, gotta respect the Amish. They single-handedly handed Pennsylvania over. New York Giant fan sent nothing but $1.99. Thank you very much. Dwight says, Johnny Salami. This will be his nickname in prison. I didn't even mean to say it. I was just like, Salami, which I kind of want now. Anyway, fucking Dingus says, Merca, baby. Glad I found the side scrollers this year. Can I get an evil Craig? My pancakes for old time's sake. Hail, normal man. Sorry, it's just us. Bills says, here's to the Dems learning nothing and radicalizing for 4 more years. The Repubs got a clean sweep, including the popular vote for the first time since Reagan, a referendum against the woke left. Tech Support Gaming says, don't tempt them, Craig. Never underestimate the marine of the woke. Rubber Legs, great name, says, Peanut and Fred have been avenged. Also, Chris U. Arch, your Veilguard characters burn into my skull, and not even bleach can remove it. Is it like terrifying?
Intended. It does. I gave her the biggest chin I conceivably could. She's very modern day female video game character.
Jelani says that video game pop culture was invented by nerds for nerds. So, yes. Sean says, Frank Zappa once said that America is a country of fads. Last night we showed that we aren't going to put up with the posers anymore. Thank you, Sean. Mike says, November 5th, 2024 will be the day that American citizens went far and wide, all collectively placed our foots down and said, nope. Yes. Snake Fan says, wait, Alyssa hates men but loves Hasan Piker? Is Hasan Piker a beta male? Andrew says, no, Alyssa, we don't beep women, we just beep you. 60 Watt says, I bet if Kamala was replaced with a big booby goth mummy girlfriend, young men would have voted blue, and I don't think I could blame them.
Would have been a winning strategy.
Your vote for me is a vote for boobs. David says, reactionary is a Marxist dog whistle for anyone who pushes back against their ideology.
It's a slur.
Pyro says, it's almost like men typically build a home and women typically make a home. Cinda says, the old Ghostbusters 2016 excuse. You didn't vote for an awful candidate. Well, you just hate women. Didn't work then, won't work now. Orthodox Monk says, there's probably a few anti-Semite drops in that Steinberg article. Mage says, time to celebrate. I'm getting hammered and playing Dragon Age Origins. Hail to all the normal men who won us the popular vote. Well, be safe drinking. Kratos says, Gamergate in 2014, 2015, Triumph wins 2016, Gamergate 2 in 2024. I never thought I'd say this, but Alyssa might be right. Don't mess with our games or squirrels. YouTube blocks his name, so use Triumph. Thank you very much, Kratos. Kratos says, teach your kids how to admit being wrong. But nobody cares, man. Says, my second super chat as my first didn't appear. Fuck you, Google. Salomon Alikim from Oslo, FRP win when. Also, polls here said 70% Kamala to win. Da fuck? Thank you very much. Hobocop says, no way, may dislike Donald, but not as much as Sweden, Denmark, and Finland, apparently. You don't want to be last place of the Nords, do ya?
Do we?
Stay-at-home Hippo says, people coping with the right B-wing funded are choosing not to acknowledge that so many actors and celebrities came out in support of Harris. That ain't peanuts. Maybe some work on Kamala Harris's needs, though. Master Gawa says, with the power of Vivian James, we help the Don keep a woman down. They're going to blame Gamergate too, so let us own it. Normal men claim your victory. 60 Watt says, toxic positivity is the key ingredient for the saltiest of tears and most nuclear of meltdowns. Can we rename Reddit to Chernobyl? Sparky says, Munya, I'm here for the coverage of the salt mines opened yesterday. Bread tubing is in shambles.
It is.
Tim says, don't have a cow, eat a cow. Meat heals. Yes, even the mind. Ha ha. Congrats, America. Thanks, Tim. 60 Watt says, Hypnotics intro just doubled in length. Black Marsh says, 47 is the glass ceiling that 2 female candidates crashed against. Also, first ever super chat. Love you, Craig. Oh, well, thanks for your first time super chat. And sorry, he's not here. The Hillian says, thinking about these mental breakdown posts, does anyone not see this as just a North Korean funeral performance? That's all they're doing. They're performing for the party for 2 minutes. Hate. Vesk says, y'all should have done these reaction videos as the modern audience characters. Yeah, I wanted to be myself today. Dark says, scared for their lives? Please, I'm pro-Dawn, centrist, and lawless Seattle where hardcore crime skyrocketed the last few years, and I have had legit reasons to be scared to ride buses. I'm sure, man. Be safe. Ballin, midgets, 1 for 2 says 20 million less dams will do it. Lord Slosh says they compare Orange Man to Mustache Man. Then in the same breath tout Free Palestine. So many blues seen red. Ironic. Bike Short Senpai says, can someone rewritten Hitler's tablet talk into a manga so I can understand it? God.
That would be funny.
Master Gawa says they share Mustache Man's playbook because he was a leftist same as them. His political party was National Socialist. He would have been a Bernie bro. Thank you. Aiden says, it's so young that the Young Turks are named after a group of Turkish nationalists who committed the Armenian genocide.
Yes, a little known fun fact.
Edwin said, Hasan's uncle is TYT's co-founder, Sank Ugar. Is that true? Ugar? Interesting. Yeah, those are words. I don't know. Jason says the CNN anchor said that normal men decide this election and ignore the media. Yeah. Crazy T says, does this mean cost of living can go down? That's what I'm hoping, and I think. Thank you for becoming a new member. I can't read your name. I'm sorry, but thank you. Adrian says America was made by felons back in 1776. Sanders says, I love the irony of 2 women on The View being named Sunny and Joy. Their parents sure had a sense of humor. The Hillian says, I was in the city on the worst day in history. I will be going back to DC on the 6th out of spite. We'll be safe. Enrique the Squirrel. Now we shall see who the true men-childs are. Thanks, Enrique the Squirrel. Danny Boy says, Arch, please harbor some of Dev's tears for me.
A small amount.
The Hillian says, now that Trump's won, the economy will improve. I can now afford to save, and with that extra money, I can afford to 3D print a suit of Enclave power armor and use it, or is it Enclave? Is it Enclave? Or
Enclave, yes.
Okay. Power armor and use it to help him enforce Project 2025. Thank you. Taker says, someone on the G&G chat said this. 2016, A New Hope. 2020, The Empire Strikes Back. 2024, Return of the Jedi. That might win the internet today. I saw that in our chat today, too. Trapper says, look the very same. Thank you very much, Trapper. Mr. Twisted Frenzy says, now comes the day of the king and may be blessed. Thank you. James says, the DEI hustlers in Hollywood are almost all out of time. No more identity politics. The countdown has begun. Christopher says, and you Norwegians are below us. And Evil Homer says, is bad faith Dev still coping? Will he admit he's a liberal, not a centrist yet?
No, still married to the centrist position.
Unregistered Hypercam 2 says, was disgusted at the broadcast TV last night calling me a race traitor for being black and not voting for someone being black. I'm a human first. Thank you very much. All right. I believe I am all caught up. If you donate something on Streamlabs, like directly, I am unable to see it, but we will read it tomorrow. Arch, tell the people where they can find you.
I am Arch. You can find me on the Archcast on YouTube and Arch Warhammer if you're interested in Warhammer 40k lore, which will just be Arch. Just basically type Arch and you'll find me somewhere, somehow.
Arch's links are down below, as is mine. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow with Madam Savvy. Let me do Craig's outro. People gotta try to keep it down. Don't let them. You guys gotta go get them. Unfortunately, I don't have the fart sound effects, so just fatality.